Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Chala Gauranga Vaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bheva Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namate Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari. So we did our Mangalacharan of invocation to the Guru Parampara. And while we are reciting Rāmāyaṇa, there are few verses which invoke the Mangalacharan of Rāmāyaṇa and Lord Rama. So I will recite these verses also, and try to memorize these verses. We will be reciting every day till Rāma-navamī. We have more than a week, so try to memorize these verses. As we discussed yesterday, that this great epic, this great work of Rāmāyaṇa, which is the journey of Lord Ram, it is presented by the great sage Valmiki. He is known as Mahamuni, or he is also known as Muni Pāṇḍava. He is the best of the sages. And as we discussed yesterday, that he performed such austerity that his body became an ant hill. Hill is also called Giri, Parvat. So the first verse of Mangalacharan says, Valmiki Giri Sambhuta Ramasagare Gamini Puneti Bhavanam Punyam Rāmāyaṇa. So that sage Valmiki, his stature or his contribution is so colossal, is so great. He is compared to a big mountain, a hill. And from that hill, what is flowing from his lotus mouth is this Rāmāyaṇa. And where it is moving towards the Sagar. In Rāmāyaṇa, Lord Ram's character is like an ocean, very deep, grave. So Gamini. So you see the flow of Ganges or Yamuna. So where the rivers emanate from, they emanate from the hills. Ganga comes from Gangotri and Yamuna comes from Yamunotri. They are top in the hills in the Himalayas. And where they are flowing to the ocean. And where is this Sarita, where is this river flowing from, which is emanating from the lotus mouth of Valmiki? It is flowing towards Ramasagar. And in between, whoever is coming, Puneti Bhuvanam Punyam. Bhuvanam means the earth. So wherever it flows, whoever comes in contact with this epic Rāmāyaṇa is Punyam. He becomes all auspicious. And Rāmāyaṇa is also compared to Mahanu. Ramayana is Mahanadi. Lord Ram is compared to the vast ocean, and Valmiki Giri is compared to the mountain. And what is it that is containing in Ramayana? What is so special about Ramayana? Charitra Raghunathasya Shatakoti Pravishtaram Ekaikam Aksharam Pumsa Mahapatak Nashanam. So it contains the character or the description of the great personality who is the king, is Raghunath of the city of Kaushal, the province of Kaushal Raj. Raghunathaya. Charitra Raghunathasya. And it is detailed in Shatakoti Pravishta. Very much details are there. But even if one verse, Eka Ekam Aksharam, even if one verse of Ramayana, if anyone is able to understand, assimilate or apply, he can be freed from all types of sin. Mahapapat Nasha. He'll be freed from all sins. And then the glorification of Valmiki. Pujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. So his composition is very, very sweet. He has composed it in the form of a poem. And it is beautifully to be sung. You will see in today's class that after the composition of Ramayana was done by Sage Valmiki, he was in great anxiety how to propagate, how to distribute this Mahapataka Nashanam, how to make it reach to people, because it is very sweetly composed. Madhuram Madhuraksharam. And it is Kavita Shakam. It is composed as a Kavita, as a poem. And Valmiki is also compared to the bird Kokilam. Koyalam. Rāma-navamī Sītam Bharatam Bharatanujam Sugrivam Vayushunascha Pranamami Punah Punah. And also very interestingly, in the Ramayana, the first chapter itself, when Narad Muni is giving the full description of the Ramayana in a very concise way. So this Ramayana was first received by Sage Valmiki, by his spiritual master, Narad Dev. When the first chapter of Ramayana, which we discussed in the first day before yesterday. So the entire Ramayana in a concise way is bestowed to Valmiki by Narad. And when he gives this Ramayana, he also gives his profuse blessing. And not only to Sage Valmiki, but to every hearer and reader of Ramayana. Very interesting. It is in the first canto and first chapter and 95th verse. It says, Idam pavitram papagam punyam vedascha sammitam ya pathed ramacharitam sarva pape pramuchyate. So this Ramayana is so very auspicious, is so very powerful. Idam pavitram papa agham. So it destroys the root, the seed of the pap. Why? Because it is so auspicious, it is so potent. Punyam vedascha sammitam. And ya pathed ramacharitam. And whoever studies or whoever describes or hears the charitra of Lord Ram, sarva papa pramuchyate. So he is purified. He is completely purified of all sin and he becomes most pure, potent. And all his sinful desires are destroyed. Etad akhyam ayushyam Pathan Rāmāyaṇam nara saputra potra sangama praptya svarge miyati. So Narad Muni is also blessing that whoever is Patana, who is ever studying or whoever is speaking the Ramayana, not only he has given the blessing that he will go to the abode of the Lord Ram, but his sons and his grandsons and their sons, his entire lineage. So we discussed yesterday how the sage Valmiki, he went to take bath after Narad Muni departed, after giving him the inspiration for Ramayana. And then another incident happened, that as he was to take bath in the Tamasa river, normally he used to go and take bath in Ganga river, but Ganga was little far and he was getting late. So Valmiki was inspired to take the bath immediately in the Tamasa river. And when he was to take the bath in the Tamasa river, he saw two Kroncha birds. And why a sage will be interested in bird? But there is something which is very, very unique of this Kroncha bird. That is their loyalty. They have only one partner to their life. And this loyalty aspect had, taken the attention of Valmiki. And when he saw how the male bird was with cruelty killed by a hunter, so the sage in his heart, out of his compassion, gave a trace of anger. And in that anger, the sage cursed the hunter. And he composed the verse which was a curse. And that curse in the form of the verse was one of the most perfect composition. It is explained that this composition, it was the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And immediately, when Lord Brahma arrives at the hermitage of sage Valmiki, and Brahma tells him that this curse that which has been uttered from your mouth, it has been induced by me. Because I have selected you to write the Rāmāyaṇa, the life of the Supreme Lord. And Valmiki is dumbfolded. He is surprised that why am I being chosen? What qualifies me to be chosen, to be selected to write the Ramayana when there are so many other sages, when there are so many other stalwarts, saintly people, more qualified than me? So there is one description in the Ramayana, which Shubhalas Prabhu is mentioning, that because Lord Ram selected sage Valmiki, and he sent Mother Sita to the hermitage of Valmiki. So because Lord Ram had already selected sage Valmiki, so Brahmaji was also inspired. So Brahmaji selected Valmiki, and Brahmaji told him to compile the Ramayana. And then he blesses Valmiki that according to what you have heard from your spiritual master, Narad, you recite. And he said, he blesses that whatever are the details, whatever are the descriptions, your words will know perfection. Whatever you will write or whatever you will speak will never be untrue. So spiritual knowledge, one life lesson here, there are many life lessons from Ramayana. One of the life lessons says that the spiritual knowledge is revealed, it is not researched. One may go on researching. There are many people there try to read so much Shastra, or they try to keep so many books, but Divyagan is Hidaya Prakashi. It was the selection. Why? Because of the character of sage Valmiki. What qualified him? If you see, because he received the blessing of his spiritual master Narad Muni. And whatever Narad Muni gave him to chant that mantra, he had no doubt whatsoever. He never questioned. And for such a profound, long period, he with all his sincerity chanted the mantra. How he was chanting Rāma, Rāma, Rāma. And it became Rāma, 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 Rāma. And he became an ant. And through the blessings of Narad Muni, he could see what all he has committed in the form of sin. Because he was a robber, a hunter. So he could see what all he has performed in his last life, as he was very much in rage and anger against that. So he was very, very obliged. He was feeling very grateful towards his spiritual master, Narad, and which in turn made Lord Brahma. And Brahma selected him to compose the Rāmāyaṇa. And Brahma tells him that Dharmatmano gunavato loke Ramasya dhimata Pritam kathaya dhirasya yatate naradashtam. He says that as you have heard the great qualities of Lord Ram, Dharmatmano, the Lord Ram is one who is always upholding the Dharma. And Gunavato, he had all those very auspicious qualities, those divine qualities. And Ramasya Dhimata, his sharp intelligence. Pritam Kathaya, so you please describe. As you have heard, Yathate Naradash, and you compile in your own words. And he also gave the inspiration to compile it in the poetic way. And he blesses that whatever you will speak, it will become. So he started to compile the Rāmāyaṇa. Guru Rāma Katham Punyam Shloka Baddham Manoramam. And then he also blessed him that till the time Rāmāyaṇa is being recited, till the time the glories of Lord Ram will be sung in my creation, that is, Brahmaji's creation is this universe, this planet Earth. He says that you will exist. Sage Valmiki, you will also be glorified, you will also be sung. So here we see that many lessons, as I was mentioning, to learn that without austerity, one cannot advance. So with the performance of austerities, and that what austerity is not one's own austerity, the austerity which is prescribed, which is given by the spiritual master, the mantra which is given by the spiritual master. So Narad Muni's blessing, it gave sakshatkar, it gave the revelation in the heart of Valmiki, that he could see the entire episode of Rāmāyaṇa in his heart. So he sat, he meditated, as mentioned in the Rāmāyaṇa, to compose the Rāmāyaṇa, and he gave the epic 24,000 verses, which have more than 500 chapters in 6 principal and 1 additional, 7 books. And after he after he completed the entire composition of Rāmāyaṇa, that time Sita Devi was within his ashram, within his hermitage. And Love and Kush were both born. It is said that Lord Ram was married to Sita at the age of 12. And they lived happily together for 12 years in their palace. At the age of 25, Lord Ram's coronation was to happen. But as we know, the coronation ceremony did not happen due to mantra and decay. It had to be cancelled. Then Lord Ram and Sita were exiled and they went to live in the forest for next 14 years. And at the age of 39, Lord Ram returned to Ayodhya. But when Lord Ram was 40, not even a year had passed, he had to send Sita to the forest. And where did he select Sita ji to be in the forest? To be in the hermitage of Sage Valmiki. So you see the privilege, the position of Valmiki Muni. How privileged and how fortunate he is. So he had the opportunity to serve Mother Sita. And one of the acharyas explained that Rāma-navamī means Rama and Ayana. And Rama is Mother Sita. So some Sri Vaishnavas consider Mother Sita to be the main character of Rāmāyaṇa. So Valmiki was very, very fortunate, and when he compiled the entire literature, he was thinking how he could propagate, how he could popularize Ramayana. So he thought of music. You see, when Prabhupada went to the West, he wanted to propagate Krishna consciousness. And after spending full 1 year in America from 1965, from September 1965 to practically July 1966, when Prabhupada thought of how to spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, he sat beneath the tree of the Tompkins Square Park and he started to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he invited the hippies to come with their instrument. Have you seen that film? If you have not seen that movie, please see that movie. Prabhupada singing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the Tompkins Square Park. Very, very heartening video. And you see how Prabhupada with such intensity is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and is surrounded by all kinds of people. And some of them are playing their own instruments, some are clapping, some are dancing, and very, very extraordinary scenes. So music was the platform through which Prabhupada also propagated. So Prabhupada is also following in the footsteps. So as Valmiki was meditating how to popularize Ramayana, how to make it reach to people, the common folks, he saw Mother Sita, and by the time Love and Kush, the twin sons, Sita's side brought he immediately thought of training the two young ones, Lava and Kusha, in memorizing and reciting Ramayana in a very poetic way with music. So he trained both of them in the recitation, and when these two young students of Valmiki, they were well trained to sing the 24,000 verses. See, if you were to be in the ashram, then we have to memorize so many verses. 24,000 verses they memorized, and they started to recite. And whoever heard their recitation, they recited with such intensity their recitation. All things were exhibited in the audience, not only in the reciters, in the Love and Kush. And even the sages in the hermitage, when they heard these two young boys recite, some would sometimes cry, some would roll on the ground. So it was so intense. Then Valmiki decided to send his two disciples outside his hermitage and to recite Ramayana. And the incident so happened that Bharatji, the younger sibling of Lord Ram, he happened to hear Love and Kush recite Ramayana. And he was so much captivated that he invited both of them to come to Ayodhya and recite this great Ramayana in front of Lord Ram. And so far, no one is knowing that Love and Kush are the sons of Lord Ram. So this is where Ramayana begins. This is from where the Ayodhya Kand begins. That Love and Kush are both invited to come to Ayodhya. And what is Ayodhya? Ayodhya is mentioned that Ayodhya. Yuddha means that in fight. And Ayodhya means that cannot be conquered by anyone by fight. So it was unconquerable. It was unconquerable by enemies from outside and from enemies within. And it had such opulence, and it was huge. It was within the Kaushal province. You see, Lord Ram is also called as Kaushalendra, because the province is the larger province is the Kaushal Desha. And it is said that the dimension, the area of Ayodhya was 120 miles by 30 miles. Such huge. And there were hundreds of palaces. It is known as Ashtapadi. And it was considered to be like a miracle. It had no problem whatsoever. No economic problem, no political problem, no social problem. Everything was in perfect balance. All the citizens were fully satisfied. And Dasharatha means, Dasha means 10 and Ratha means the chariot. So Dashrath means one who could conquer all the 10 directions. So Dashrath was not having any son. Maharaj Dashrath, King Dashrath was not having any son. He was devoid of an inheritance. Although he had more than 350 wives. And out of that 353 wives, there were 3 principal wives, which were Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. And his guru was Vashishta. His school guru was Vashishta Muni, and he was always advised and guided by the council of ministers. And to beget a son, all of them unanimously requested Maharaj Dashrath to perform an Ashwamedha Yagna. So there is great description that to perform Ashwamedha Yagna, his foremost minister Sumantra, he was sent to get the sage Rishi Shringa. Have you heard about the sage Rishi Shringa? Any one of you? No one has heard? There is a big history about the sage Rishi Shringa. It's very pure. Sonika is raising her hand. Yes, Sonika. What do you know about this sage?
Prabhuji, he was born by a deer.
He was born by
a deer.
I don't know. But he was very austere. He lived in forest, and he was not born by a deer. I will have to do the reading again, but because I could not read again today. He lived in the forest, and he never had, seen any woman. and he was enticed to come to the city. And he was so pure that it was predicted that there was the king who was the friend of Dashrath of Anga Pradesh, whose name was Rāma. And when Dashrath reached Anga with the help of King Rāma, he brought Rishi Shringa to Ayodhya. And Rishi Shringa he first performed the Ashwamedha Yagya, which was successfully completed. And after the completion of the Ashwamedha Yagya, he performed the Putra Krameshti Yagya, because Dashrath had an aspiration. The entire city of Ayodhya was waiting to receive the inheritance, the heir of Ayodhya. So this Putra Krameshti Yagya, which was being performed by Rishi Shringa, it begins, there is a big description of how this Putra Krameshti Yagya was very successfully conducted. And the demigods, they also were seeing from the heavenly planets. So everyone was seeing. And while this Putra Kameshti Yag was being performed, at that time the demigods were very much in anxiety, because the demigods, they were very much disturbed by a demon called Rāma. And the demigods, they approached Lord Brahma for protection. Bhagavam Stvat Prasadena Rāma-navamī Rakshasa Udvijati Lokam Strin Uchritan Dveshti Durmati. So this demon called Ravan, he was so evil-minded and he was so powerful that Udvejati Lokatmina, he could disturb the peace and harmony of all the three worlds. He could even threaten and topple Indra to fall down from his position. Why? Because he received the great boon from Brahma. And no one could kill him because he had received that boon from Brahmaji. But only the humans were not amongst his list who could kill him. So their only means to kill him was that if someone in this human form of life, so empowered, he appears. So this prayer was being made by the demigods to Lord Brahma. And when this prayer is being made by the demigods to Brahma, at that time Lord Vishnu arrives. And Lord Vishnu assures Lord Brahma and the demigods that soon he will appear. He will appear, he will become the son of Dashratha. And for everyone's benefit, he will appear in Ayodhya and he will kill the cruel and evil-minded Ravana and establish the principles of Dharma. So in this way, the Putra Kameshti Yagya happens, and as we see that in that Yagya, there is that pot of sweet rice which is offered. It is mentioned that Lord Vishnu appears as the sons of Maharaj Dashrath. In the 15th verse it says, Tadha Tatha Padma Palashaksha Kritvatmanam Chaturvidham Pitaram Rochayamasa Dashratham Nipam. So then Lord, the lotus side, Lord Vishnu, he made himself into four. He expanded himself into four. And he chose King Dashrath to be his father. And after 12 months of the ceremony of Putra Kameshti year, at the 9th day of Chaitra, when the planets were in the exalted position, the nakshatra is Punarvasu, and it is the Shukla Paksha. At that time, the most auspicious time, the Supreme Lord descends in the courtyard of King Dashrath. Tatascha dvadase maase Chaitra namike titham nakshatre aditi dvitye swachosha samasteshu panchashu griheshu karkate lagna vakpata induna saha Prodyamane Jagannatham Sarvaloka Namaskritam Kaushalya Ajanayat Ramam Sarvalakshana Samyutam Vishnur Ardham Mahabhagam Putram Ekshavat Vardhanam Lohitaksham Mahabahu Raktaoshtam Dodhishpanam. So Kaushalya, he gave birth to Lord Ram, the Lord of universe, and all auspiciousness manifested in all directions. So, because Mother Kaushalya, she had accepted the half pot or the half bowl of the payas which was received from the Putra Kameshti Yagya, given by Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu himself gave that payas. So it is mentioned that the day when Lord Ram appeared, that day was Tuesday, and the time was noon. It is the Madhyana. So Lord Ram's face is compared to moon, and the radiance of moon minimized when Lord Ram appears, and his eyes were tinged like red lotus petals. His skin is compared to the shine of the green emeralds. And to see the beauty of Lord Ram, both the father and the mother Dashrath and Kaushalya were spellbound. And Bharat was born on Dashmi. Lord Ram is born on Navami. It is called Rāma-navamī, the 9th day. And Sita Devi is also born on Navami. Sita. Krishna is born on Ashtami. We say Janmashtami. And Srimati Radharani also takes birth on Ashtami. That is Radhashtami. Lord Ram appears on Navami. So after 11 days of birth, Vasishtha, he comes to the palace to perform the name giving ceremony. And it is mentioned that Vasishtha was very eager to give the name for Lord Ram. In fact, when he saw Lord Ram, his heart was so much filled with ecstasy, with so much of bliss, that he could not contain himself. And from his mouth, he uttered the word Ram. Ram means one who gives ultimate bliss, one who gives the pleasure for one and all. So he named the eldest, Kaushalya's son, as Ram. And he named Keke's son as Bharat. Bharat means one who has big load on his head. Load of kingdom. Bhar. Bharat comes from the word Bhar. One who will take responsibility. And he gave the name Lakshmana to the first son of Sumitra. Lakshmana comes from the word Lakshmi, which means wealth. And what is the real wealth in human form of life? Is service to Lord. So Lakshmana received the greatest wealth, and that wealth was the inseparable service with Lord. And the younger son of Sumitra was known as Shatrughna. Shatru means the enemies, and Gna means one who demolishes or who minimizes. The one who conquers the enemies. That is Shatrughna. So in this way, the four incarnations of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, they appear in the courtyard of King Dashrath. They are also compared as Lord Ram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lakshmana is his expansion as Ananta Shesha. Bharat is considered to be the expansion of Sudarshana, the disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, and Shatrughna is the conch, Panchajanya. And if you otherwise see in Srimad Bhagavatam, it comes that they are considered Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And some of the acharyas explain that these four brothers, they denote Dharma, which is Lord Ram, Artha, which is Lakshmana, Moksha, which is Bharata, and Kam, that is Shatrughna. So appearance of Lord Ram, the acharyas have explained that there are multiple reasons for Lord Ram's descent on this earth. First is to annihilate the miscreants as Ravana, because that was the plea, that was the petition which was made by the demigods to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma in turn made the petition to Lord Vishnu. So to protect the demigods, to protect Brahma and Indra, more important, the Lord came to protect the sadhus, which he says, Paritranaya sadhunam. But he wanted to reciprocate with his devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. That is his foremost reciprocation. And vinashaya cha dushkitam is secondary. So he wanted the reciprocation of rasas in different relationship with his different devotees. Lakshmi ji had always complained to Lord Vishnu that I find no place of having any privacy with you. Why? Because Lord Vishnu is always on the bed of Anantashesh. And Anantashesh, with his so many hoods, he is always observing Vishnu and Lakshmi. And when in the previous age, when Lord appeared at Narsimdev, Lord Narsimdev, he could see that Prahlad was enjoying more. Prahlad was very much in bliss when he was being patted by Narsimdev. So that Vatsalya Bhava of Prahlad inspired the Lord. He had no mother. Why? Because Narsimdev was born from where? Who is the mother of Narsimdev? Anyone knows? Whom did Narsimdev accept as mother? How could there be a mother? Because he appeared from a pillar, from a khamba. So he was thinking that Vatsalya Bhava is so very relishing that Prahlad is enjoying. He became the father. So he wanted to experience the love of mother and father. So he came as Lord Ram to experience the love of not one, but three mothers. And fourth reason you all know. What is the fourth reason of Lord appearing in the house of King Dashrath? What? Yes, Sarika?
Prabhuji, you told earlier that King Ikshvaku was worshipping Lord Vishnu.
Yes, that is it. True, very true. Perfect answer. Because in the lineage of Ikshvaku very religiously worshipped the deity of Lord Ranganath. And Lord was very satisfied with this worship. So in this way, the appearance of Lord Ram happens. And so these two young disciples of Valmiki, they begin to recite the story of Rāmāyaṇa, and they begin how that the four brothers appear in the house of King Dashrath. And not much description is given about the childhood of Lord Ram, but it is said that when they were in cradle, when they were put in cradle, the four brothers were put in cradle, they started to cry. And it was so put in the cradle that Ram was put with Bharat and Lakshman with Shatrughan. And they were crying. So when they were crying, so the mothers, they were trying to pacify them, but they could not. So when they were bewildered that why the babies are crying so much, so the mothers took the help of their guru, sage Vasishtha. And when Vasishtha came, he made Lord Ram be next to Lakshmana and Bharat next to Shatrugna. And all the four, they became pacified. They stopped crying. And when they were 5 years old, in the palace gardens, they would play with mud balls. And it so happened that Lord Ram, he never used to play much pranks like ordinary child. But once Lord Ram, what he did, he took the mud ball and he threw the mud ball on one of the maid servants of his mother, that is Mantra. And from that day, when the mud ball spilled over Mantra and she was made the center of joke in the palace, she started to dislike Ram. And that became one of the reasons that she induced Keikei to ask Ram for exile. So another lesson is that we should not try. We should not try to insult or antagonize anyone unnecessarily. But we never know how much and to what extent the other person can do damage or harm to us. So all the princes, they were admitted in Vasishtha Gurukul. And it was so much of, they were so attached, their father Dashrath was so attached. It is said when the boys went to Gurukul, so Dashrath also went to them. And because of attachment, Dashrath was also in the Gurukul. But Vasishtha asked Dashrath to leave. And Vasishtha knew that his student in the form of Lord Ram is not an ordinary student, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So after Dashrath left and Lord Ram was there, the Gurukul, to learn from Vasishtha, it is said that Vasishtha circumambulated Lord Ram. And he said that My dear Lord, you are the one who have blessed me with intelligence and empowered me to teach you. As the Ganges is worshipped by Ganges water itself. So, whatever I have known and learned through your mercy, I will try to offer. So that is the culture. And Vasishtha then teaches so many arts, so many skills, so many shastras to the princess. And in this way, their education begins. And Lord Ram was always very sincere and serious. He was very quick learner. And after completing the education and training, Teshamapi Mahateja Rama Satya Parakrama Ishta Sarvasya Lokasya Shashanka Eva Nirmala. So Rama, Lord Ram, whose heart was filled with infallible valor. He was such prowess and such perfection. He was always the object of attention for all. He was shining like a spotless moon. So once, while they were in Gurukul, it so happened that there was a tribal girl who happened to pass through the hermitage of Vasishtha. And that tribal girl was wearing a nose ring. And that nose ring was abnormally big, huge one. So Lakshman, when he saw that the girl was in discomfort because of that unusual large nose ring, he shot an arrow to target the nose ring of that girl so that the nose ring could be cut and be shrink. But when he did that, it cut and it shrink so much that it caused pain and bleeding to the girl. And Lord Ram, when he was there, he was witnessing, he shot another arrow to release that girl from that pain and to increase the size of it. So that was the level of prowess which they had in archery and bowmanship. And he shot another arrow which would make the ring fly in the sky. So this spoke about how much of perfection they gained in short time while they were in the ashram of their guru. And after the completion of the training, King Dashrath himself came with a big procession to take them back in the chariots to return to the city of Ayodhya. So there is an episode, an interesting episode. So among the citizens of Ayodhya, there was one small boy who was desiring the audience of Lord. And he had a desire to gift something to Lord Ram. But because he was from a very poor background, he did not have much. So he made one pair of padukas, which was made of barks and leaves, which he wanted to gift to Lord Ram when he returns from the Gurukul to come to Ayodhya. So entire Ayodhya was welcoming him, receiving him. And Lord Ram, while he was on the chariot, he could spot that boy. And he called that boy and made that boy sit with him on his chariot and travel with him up to Ayodhya. So this is the character of Lord Rama. From his very early time, he exhibited that he was the upholder of religion. Whoever in any form loved him or wanted to serve him, Lord Ram accepted his service. That is why Lord Ram is known as Dharmagna. His quality, one of the 16 qualities that we were discussing, is Dharmagna cha Kritagnas cha Vireva. He is the knower and the upholder of the Vedic Dharma. And his heart is filled with gratitude. Anyone does any little service, Lord Ram always remembers. So soon, Lord Ram, after his return, he became the most loved person in Ayodhya. Everyone's attention was towards Lord Ram. And Guru Vasisht was very happy, was very pleased to see the glory of his students. And they entered the boyhood, and Dashrath queens, when they saw that the boys are growing up, they had consultation of how to get their sons married. And when they were thinking about this, at that stage, there is an arrival of another great sage, Vishwamutra Muni. The unexpected guest, the great ascetic, he comes to the city of Ayodhya, and King Dashrath gives him a grand welcome and gives him a foot bath. He bathes his feet so he inquires, when the sage comes, he inquires that all the kings that he has conquered in the Ashwamedh, are they submissive to him? And is the king able to perform both his Swadharma and Sanatana? Is able to perform both his duties. Duties toward the society and the duties toward the Supreme Personality of God. So when the sage settles down there for a few days, then Dashrath finally inquires from the sage that what is the purpose of Vishwamutra Muni's arrival in Ayodhya. Vishwamitra, as the name says, that he is Mitra, he is the friend of everyone, of the entire world, Vishwamitra. And Vishwamutra is engaged in the benefit of everyone. He is the good friend, and his purpose is to serve everyone. So he is performing some fire sacrifice to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is peace and prosperity in the entire planet. But to be able to perform his sacrifice, he requires peace and serenity. So Vishwamitra then disclosed that he has traveled from a long distance and come to Dashrath, because when he is performing this fire sacrifice for the benefit of everyone, Sarva Bhuta Hiterata, there are many demoniac forces, particularly the demons called Marich and Subhahu, who are continuously disrupting the sacrifice. But because he is performing the sacrifice, he cannot curse them or kill them. He has to restrain from anger or retaliation. So now he thinks that he needs someone from Dashrath who can protect his sacrifice, and he can peacefully complete his sacrifice. And then he asked, Vishwamitra asked Dashrath to part with his two sons, Ram and Lakshman, to become the protector of his sacrifice. As soon as Dashrath hears the words of Vishwamitra, he faints. He immediately faints. because of his excessive attachment to his sons and his fear of them being harmed by such powerful demons. So Dashrath pleads to Vishwamitra and says that they are young, they are very small boys. How can they protect from such big demons? So in turn, he offers himself that I will come with you to protect your sacrifice, or I will send my best of the skilled men, the great fighters of my army, to go and kill the demons and protect your sacrifice. But Vishwamitra, he says, there's a very famous verse which he says, Aham vedmi mahatmanam Ramam satya parakram Vasishto api mahateja ye cha ye me tapasi sthita. He says that I know who Ram is. You have no idea about this power. To some extent, Vashisht also knows. So he says that I know what I am asking. Dashrath, don't underestimate me. Don't think that I do not know who can protect my sacrifice. And when Vishwamitra shows some anger and discontent, so Dashrath begins to shiver. And he folds his hand in submission, and with a heavy heart, he allows Vishwamitra to carry his two sons. So I'll stop here. It's a couple of minutes to 9. I have many calls coming. But somehow I have a strong desire that with all of you, at least some portion of Ramayana we will cover. I have told it today in the story form, not in the verse form, because I was contemplating if I take verse by verse, I will not be able to do even one chapter or even half of a chapter. But today we have done at least a couple of chapters. So thank you for coming, and I am very thankful especially to Ganesh Prabhu. He is doing a great service, that he is preparing this film, this recording, and some other devotees are also watching. So I will try my level best not to miss, but some days there will be compulsion. Saturday and Sunday would be very, very heavy because we have the festival starting. It is just on the verge of starting. Already just started. So keep yourself, it will also depend on how much intense desire you have, so that the Lord allows us to read and share this great epic of Ramayana. Thank you very much. If someone has to say something or share, please speak quickly. I don't see any hand coming. I can see only few of you, not everyone, because I am today logged in with the hand phone, not with the laptop. I don't know why laptop is not working. Okay, so I'll end here. Shri Ramayana ki jai, Shri Valmiki Dev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. उपस्थित